All right, good morning, morning. Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks so much. I know we got a lot of people logging in from all over the country. I see Adam. What's up, Adam? Coming in from Texas.
What up? Had to hop on for my boy Brennan. Long
Nice,
time no see.
nice. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. See, we got Cincinnati, we got Columbus, we got Cleveland. Obviously, we got our hometown favorites of Detroit on. But I just want to welcome everybody to Clear Channel. Obviously, you guys know I started this channel a couple months ago, and my thought of putting it together was, and I really feel like I found my purpose when it comes to business and also just in life, and it's to help change the world one leader at a time. So if there's someone on this call that can be positively impacted by the guests that we bring on, and our just the array of studs that we have in our business that we do, and even outside of business. Next week, we got a pretty cool call with one of my buddies. He's a Princeton guy, built a massive financial business in actually West Palm. I'm excited about getting you guys on these calls. So happy Friday. So first things first, we always say it every Friday. I want you guys to pull out your cell phone. I know you're sitting with it. You slept next to it last night and you talked to it before you went to sleep. You probably talked to it this morning when you woke up. You pull up on your cell phone, it's something called YouTube. It is an app that I know you go to when you look at silly things. Sometimes you do it for good, but type in Clear Channel, KLear channel. Pull it up. I see a few of you guys grabbing your phones. A few guys are just sitting there drinking coffee. Grab your phones if you haven't logged in already. Grab your phone, subscribe to Clear Channel. My goal is to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. I know by listening and paying attention to these calls and by meeting the people we bring on, your life will be better. So appreciate the time. So we're going to jump right in, guys. So we got an awesome guest speaker today, Brennan Fulkerson. He's been an entrepreneur now for 5 years, Brennan, I believe we talked about. He's out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, my hometown, which is pretty awesome. I know we talked briefly about him living we grew up and played soccer in Pine Island Road there in Plantation. But Brennan, I know you've had an incredible career, coming out of college, playing baseball. Do you mind sharing a little bit about just a brief couple minutes, home, college, sports, and then falling into business and what that was like just out of school? Thank you so much for getting on today. Really appreciate you, buddy.
Oh yeah, thanks Ken, and thanks for the opportunity. Good morning, everybody. It's always so fun to be able to see new faces, and appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time out of your day to hear what I got to say. But I know we don't have a lot of time today, so I'm going to keep everything relatively brief. I'm not going to try to elaborate too much because a lot of information condensed into a little bit amount of time. But yeah, the quick rundown. So I'm originally from Orange County, California, which is like 30 minutes south of LA, between Los Angeles and San Diego. I grew up literally 15 minutes away from Disneyland. My mom is a school teacher. My dad is in corporate banking and does sales. So I kind of had like the financial business guy and then like the loving, supportive, patient mother. So I really feel like I grew up, well. My dad made good money, so we grew up middle-ish class. I'd say maybe middle, maybe even closer to the upper side of things. I just noticed a lot of my neighbors were, ran businesses, were dentists, were doctors. And early on, I kind of knew, I had an idea of what I needed to do if I wanted to become successful, because it was all around me. And then got a scholarship out of high school to play Division I baseball, played at Long Beach State University. Picked that school because that school still to this day has produced the most Major League Baseball players of any university. I clearly was not one of those, which is why I'm here. But yeah, got my degree in marketing, got good grades. My baseball career ended, and I knew I wanted to get into a business that was performance-based. My whole life had been performance-based. And I knew I wanted to become successful. I knew I wanted to make money, and I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Just wasn't really clear on how that was going to be because college didn't really set me up for that. And then, a lot of pieces fell into the right places, and, here we are today. So it's a little brief background there, Kenny.
Awesome. And, it's interesting because I know your relationship. So Sebastian is the guy who hired you out of school, who had a big business he'd built over the years, right? So tell me about that relationship with Sebastian. I mean, pretty successful guy and made, done really, really well in life already. And then you, college graduate, just wanting to get there. Tell me about that relationship. How did it start? How did it evolve? Tell me about that.
So it's funny enough. I got hired into his company, and I had never actually even met him. He was on vacation in Panama for 2 weeks. And so I had already been working there for about a week and a half before ever even meeting him, which speaks to the depth of leadership that was inside of his organization, because I was already attracted to working there without actually meeting the guy who was, probably, the greatest of all time, a guy who was an absolute stud. I hadn't even met him. So once he got back from Panama, I was like, holy cow, this is the guy that runs the company. And I got really turned on by him. I could tell he was a super intelligent guy. He was a little older than me at the time. I think he was 36 or 37 when I got hired. And really somebody that I thought I looked up to as a mentor, someone that was successful, that had a track record. He had been in the financial stock market industry at one point. He had run a few businesses prior to the one he was running. And he was living a life and making the kind of money that I wanted to have. And, for me, yes, the paycheck was important, but what was more important was the knowledge and the skill sets that I could acquire that could go off and make me more money. And I'm very thankful I kind of had that mentality, because I think a lot of people early on chase the money, and you should be chasing the knowledge. Learning, growing, and developing will make you all the money in the world that you want with the right education and the right mentorship. So I was very fortunate to really get to know him. Him and I would consider great friends. I don't even look at him anymore as a coach or a mentor, although we have that relationship. We're more like friends, and it's great being able to hang around him and just, kind of, I don't want to say be at his level, but be a lot closer to his level than I was when I first started. And really, really thank him for taking me under his wing and really teaching me the things that I needed in order to become successful, for sure.
Awesome. And, I'll tell you, from what I remember and from talking to you a few different times, that first 30, 60, 90 days, although you came in and got some parts of the business really well, and, sales is an example, I heard you got things down pretty quickly, but then like after 2, 3, 4 weeks, you hit a wall, you almost quit, and you almost left this opportunity, which is crazy to think based on the career you've had.
Yeah.
You almost walked away. So do you mind sharing that little experience and why you stuck to it?
Yeah, totally, man. So in the interview process, just interviewing with a lot of different companies, I found out, through that process that there's a lot of illegitimate companies that are out there trying to hire you. And so my skepticism was just really high, even in general, just because I didn't want to be wrapped up in something. I knew I was a sharp candidate, but I didn't want to be wrapped into some business that was like, kind of scammy or fraudulent. And so this is going to be my ignorance speaking here, but my first 2 weeks of being in Sebastian's office, I made the most sales. I high rolled his entire office. There were like 40 guys that were in there, and I made the most amount of sales. And I got my first check, because checks are lagged by a couple weeks. And I did 10 sales, which, at the time, the commission structure times 10 sales. And by my math, my check should have been about $1,400, give or take. And I got a check for $296. And I was like, oh, yep, it's one of these. I knew it. This is what they must do. They must hire just tons of people. They come in like me, make a bunch of sales, they steal the money, and then, they leave. That's literally what I thought. And so I was pretty close to actually just like quitting, just driving home. I got my check and I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm just going to totally ghost them and just go home. And for whatever reasons, I had a second thought on my drive to my house, because I was going home. I was quitting. And I remember someone got handed their check and someone went, yes. And I was like, why would somebody do that if they were getting scammed? Like that didn't make a lot of sense. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to the office tomorrow. I'm going to ask some questions and then I'm going to quit. And so I went back to the office the next day. I decided to work that day. I went back to the office the next day because I was like, I can stick it out one more day. It's no big deal. And then they were like, dude, have you been like following up with your customers and like signing up the right customers? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no, I haven't done any of that. And so it just turns out I was really good at like forcing customers to say yes. I wasn't asking qualifying questions. I was just super persistent in my sales pursuit. And I thought as soon as I made the sale, I made the money. And I didn't realize there was a whole back-end system that I needed to get figured out. Anyways, long story short, they almost lost out on a great person. I mean, I had a lot to offer and they almost lost out because that just wasn't taught to me. So when I got here to Fort Lauderdale to build my business, well, that was one of the things that like was a foundational piece of building this company is I'm like, I'm never going to let a new person come in and not make money at my company. And if they don't, they need to know exactly why they didn't. I don't want that feeling ever to happen. So Yeah, really proud to say on the campaign that we're on right now, we're doing the most video production of any other client or business partner across the country, and we have the best quality of any office running right now. So that's awesome. I mean, that's exactly what that set out to do, and that stems from that story early on of almost wanting to quit from getting a bad paycheck. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, I think it's just a testament, because obviously when I've been watching your career over the years and seeing you grow up, and obviously you've got a ton of accolades in our business. But it just goes to show you, like, people get knocked down. We all do. We all get knocked down. We all have our challenges. We all have our moments. But you chose to, okay, no, let's look at it logically. You know, I see so many people in life make emotional decisions, right? If somebody, you know, makes an emotional decision when the chips are down or things don't go their way, they're just quitting. They're a quitter. And nothing wrong with that. There's good quitting, like quitting smoking, like quitting drinking. Like, that's good quitting. Bad quitting is when you do it on emotions and you change the trajectory of your career, right? So that's awesome. You know, as far as leadership goes, obviously you've learned a lot of leadership skills in our business. You've learned a lot of leadership skills from sports before our business, and it sounds like your father played a pretty big influence on your career choices. From what I remember, you when you interviewed, you asked people about making six figures. Is that true? Like, and that was part of your question. Hey, can I make six figures? How long, et cetera? Can you tell me a bit about that and how maybe your leadership mindset and how our model kind of worked for you?
Yeah, big time. I mean, so what I thought was unique about our business model specifically was that it almost seemed too good to be true. So, you know, coming out of school and having a degree, being a baseball player, but not having any professional experience, I still thought I was like, I'm going to go find that $100,000 a year job. You know, that's out there. And, you know, as I'm looking on this Zoom call, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. You know, you got right out of school and you're like, I'm going to go find that $100,000 a year job, only to realize that you get essentially laughed at or not even called back on, you know, all the jobs that you were applying for that were at six figures. They're not even coming back to you. So then I was like, okay, I definitely am not going to be able to get a job that's going to pay me that out the gate. What I need to find is an opportunity where I can quickly grow into that and earn that. And so that was part of my qualifying questions just throughout the interview process with every company that I was evaluating. And when I came across our business, you know, it was presented to me in a way that, like, hey, you know, if you really want to make six figures, you know, that can happen in a year or two or three. And, you know, my dad, coming from the corporate banking industry, I mean, it took my dad maybe 10 or 15 years to make six figures. It took him a long time. So I was still even skeptical about 2 to 3 years. I was like, 2 to 3 years, that sounds pretty fast. And I was like, so if you're telling me if I do, you know, everything you ask and I'm the highest performer, it's based on results, it's not based on, you know, time or tenure or seniority, it's just based on what I bring, you're telling me that's possible? And the answer was yeah. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do it. And so I gave it a shot, and it didn't really hit me until I saw my first person get promoted to management. And then they weren't in the office anymore. And I was like, whoa, like this is this happens, like this is real. And then I never looked back. I got job offers all the time for being in the field and doing sales. I don't think you're doing the field right or doing sales right if you're not consistently getting offered jobs. That means you're doing a really great job and you're really impressing the people that are out there. And I was getting tons of job offers, but I turned them all down. I put my blinders on and I'm like, I'm going to go all in on this thing and take it as far as I can. And you know, I really want to see where this can lead. And getting into management, I mean, I've had just been so blessed, man. I've had my worst year of running my company, my worst year. I made $155,000, my money. That was my worst year ever. My best year ever, I made almost 600,000. So, I mean, I'm really glad I went all in and went 2 feet in and wasn't just, you know, oh yeah, you know, trying to chase the money or, you know, oh, hey, we'll offer you a company car. I just laugh at that stuff now that I even, like, at one point even thought that was cool. What's cool is running your own business, having your own freedom to do what you want, and living a life not having to worry about time or money, making different decisions. And that's fun. So yeah, you got to have that vision early on. And thankfully I closed back doors. I went all in and just said, I'm just going to put the blinders on and work as hard as anyone I know, and I'll see where it leads me. And then you look up one day and it's like, wow, look where we are. It's pretty fun.
You know, it's interesting because I know sometimes I've had people tell me in their first 30, 60, 90 days, they say things like, yeah, sales is it's just not for me. And I'm like, huh, Interesting. And then they say, you know, yeah, I just don't want to stand in Walmart or Target all day. And my response is, no shit, right? But they don't get that, like, so the idea is, you know, what that tells me is you're not connected to what is the picture, what is the goal, where are you going, what you're doing. It's like you're an athlete. Did I like doing gassers? No, I freaking hated it, right? Hated it. And then when we didn't make our time, we did it again. And we didn't make our time, we'd scream at the goalies because those fuckers were the ones that would always make us have to do it again, right? And like, I hated that stuff. But what did I love? Was Friday night when my parents saw me play in front of 10,000 people. And I was playing a level that not many play at. And in business, not many people make six figures, right? Not many people make seven figures. And I've heard, and I'm just going to look at your finances, I don't know, but I heard you become a self-made millionaire because of our model. What is the concept of that small percentage of the world that does great? And if you want to be in that small percentage, knowing that unfortunately there's a big percentage that don't, and you know, that's life. But what's your mindset around like the percentage of people being successful and what you got to be one of those?
Yeah, I think your relationship with money, I think, is really important and how it's viewed. Let me give you guys a real example of how I think about money. How you handle $100 is how you're going to handle 1,000. How you handle 1,000 is how you're going to handle 100,000. And how you handle 100,000 is how you'll handle a million. A lot of the money principles that I have today, I had when I had nothing. But just think about it this way. Money is a tool and it is a resource if used properly. And I'm just going to give you an example. The year is 2012 and you want to be one of the coolest people you know. So you're one of the first people to buy a Tesla because you're real, you know, you got money and you want to let everyone know that you got it. So you buy a Tesla in 2012. That Tesla in 2012 would have cost you $70,000, but you drive a Tesla and you're like on the cutting edge of technology and you're one of the coolest people you know. Everyone looks up to you. Everyone's like, dude, Brennan's awesome. He drives a Tesla. Okay, let's fast forward to the year 2021. You can sell that same Tesla today that you had in 2012. You can sell it today for about $40,000. So you've enjoyed a Tesla for, you know, close to 10 years, and you can sell it and make back 40,000 and only really lose 30,000. That's not too bad for a car. I mean, Teslas really hold their value. Let me tell you something. If you had put that $70,000 in 2012, instead of buying a Tesla to look super cool, if you put that Tesla money into actually buying Tesla stock, today you would have $7.5 million. Why don't more people do stuff like that? Because they're interested in looking cool. They're interested in being the social media reel. They're interested in posting pictures and how they're on first class on flights and wearing really fancy clothes and jewelry. See, some people want to look like they have it, and then there's other people that would rather just have it. So for me, when that's what it's about, that's what I want. I just want to have it. I'm not really interested in like flaunting it per se. Because when you go to the store or you go to a restaurant and you don't even think to look at the prices, that's like super cool. Like my girlfriend and I, we have dinner reservations tonight at this really fancy seafood place I made them last week. The tab will probably be for two of us, $650. And I don't care because I want to enjoy really good food on the ocean and have a great Friday night. I don't want to have to like eat out of a cardboard box. You know, I want to splurge at times, but then like there's other things. Like I own 5 suits. 5, that's all I have. There's only 5 working days out of the week. I don't need more than that. Right? But I have guys in my office that have 20 suits. I'm like, what do you need 20 suits for? You don't. Like, that's nuts. But that's how I view money. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just giving you my perspective on it. If I make 100, I want to save as much of the 100 as I can and not try to blow it, because money is a seed. And if planted and watered and grown and taken care of, can go make you lots more money. So that's kind of how I view just running a business. That's how I view investing. Money is a tool, and if used properly, can be very, very advantageous to help you get where you want to go.
And I don't want to get, again, if I'm asking too much, you can just stop me. But, there's word on the street that there's been some stocks recently you put some money into and they paid off for you.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been trading since 2011. I originally did it in college to make money to party, and I stopped partying. And I'm being honest, that's really what I did it for. And I stopped partying. So to me, trading and investing equaled partying. Because that's what I used it for. And then when I grew up and got more mature and stopped partying like that, I stopped trading. And then I started running this business and making a lot of money. And I'm like, what the hell? What am I doing? Like, it just hit me one day. I'm like, you have a skill. Like, why aren't you applying this skill? I was just so focused on building my business. I hadn't even thought about it. And then,
which you needed to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. And over the last couple of years, I've really gotten back into it, I should say. And I mean, I don't know if this is putting too much out there, but I'm sure you guys have all heard about the craziness that happened with like GameStop and AMC and just all that craziness. I mean, this year, just in trading and investing, I've already made $2.5 million doing that, which is just fucking crazy. I don't even know how to comprehend it. I mean, this week I've made 200 grand on AMC. So it's just like, I don't know, man, you're just playing a different world. And I don't know. It's just super blessed, man. I don't know any other way to put it. And, knowledge is power. Going back to just educating yourself. Some people go home and play Call of Duty. I go home and watch financial TV and read books and YouTube videos on how to become better at my craft. We all have the same amount of time. It's just what you do with your time dictates where you're going. And I can tell all of you this, if I hang out with you for 24 hours, I can tell within probably a ballpark of $10,000 to $15,000 how much you make a year. If I hung out with you for 24 hours, just based on your decisions, choices, what times you wake up, what your habits look like, what you spend your time doing, I can probably guess how much money you make just by what kind of life you live. So different decisions will get you different results, plain and simple.
Awesome. Agreed. Good for you, buddy. That's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
So with that being said, obviously in again, running your office there in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, you've worked with some big clients, and obviously we launched this retail deal that recently, and things are starting to boom on that side. You've been on the other deal we've had. They've rewarded you with some cool experiences based on your performance. Do you mind sharing a little bit about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, other than last year, I had been to the last 5 Super Bowls, all paid for, expense paid by our client, which was AT&T, is AT&T. And I'm talking like 5-star experience. Like, my flight lands, I get a text message from somebody at AT&T, Mr. Fulkerson, welcome to Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're excited to have you for the, Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And I don't know anybody inside of corporate other than the top guys. And, I'm walking to the, baggage claim carousel to pick up my bag. And someone I'd never seen or met before walks right up to me. Mr. Fulkerson, your van is waiting outside. We have your bags. I'm like, you don't even know what my bag looks like. Sir, don't worry about that. We have it taken care of. Oh, okay, great. Thanks. Walk me to a, freaking blacked out Escalade. Go to the, the hotel. There's already gifts laid out all over your bed. I mean, just unbelievable. You want to talk about just like 5-star experience? Like, that's what I'm talking about. And then they take you to these like VIP parties before the Super Bowl even happens. And, I'll tell you one of them, I hit a guy, I was in a private pit, and it was DJ Khaled. And I'm not really into that whole scene anymore, but every now and again, it's fun. And, I bumped into a guy and I'm like, oh man, hey, I'm sorry. And I just heard this voice that just sounded like Jesus. And, I turned around and it was Denzel Washington. I bumped into Denzel Washington. I'm like, dude, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, you're good. Don't worry about it. I'm like, wow. And then, the parties that Mark Cuban was at, Tim Tebow. I got pictures with all these guys at these parties that I was in the same room and had been viewed at the same level as those guys. Was just like, just nuts, man. And then, just some of the actual Super Bowl games. That Patriots comeback years ago against the Falcons was nuts. I was there for that. You had the Philly special game, which was awesome, was there for that. You got to see Patrick Mahomes, down here in Miami, won his first Super Bowl. I've been there for all of them. It's been awesome. And I'm a huge football guy. I'm a big fantasy player. I'm a huge Dolphins fan, which I don't know. Kenny, are you a Dolphins fan? You're from down here. Are you
No, I'm a Redskins.
Oh,
yeah.
my God. That would be the Washington football team now.
It is, and it's still the Redskins in my eye. So you'll see here. You'll see. I got my little picture up there. Yeah, little RG3 back in the day. He was supposed to be the guy, right? But
yeah.
But well, it's funny because so obviously growing up somewhere, it's kind of like in Detroit, right? So I'm here so long. I kind of love the Lions to an extent because when they lose, everyone here in town's negged, you know, because they're hometown team. Like they're so passionate about their football here. But when I was in Miami, being that I lived there for a bit growing up, obviously my dad fell in love with the Dolphins, and so we actually, you know, I think, you know, in Weston where I grew up, that's where Marino lived. Not in our community, but in another one over there. So.
Yep.
Well, very cool. And then I know we're kind of wrapping up here, and thank you so much, Brennan, for your time and being so open about life and experiences. Tell us, you know, if some of your goals, and if I'm a leader, I'm a month or two in the business, and you know, maybe I've been inspired by this call. What's the next logical step? What should I do if I want to start moving towards creating a world and a life and a business like you have? What would you tell yourself if that was you sitting on this call?
Yeah, I mean, I have so much advice I could give. I'll give a handful that I think are great. What you do in the dark will bring you to the light. There's going to be, you know, everyone wants the big trophy. Everybody wants the big check. Everybody wants the high five and the recognition. And everybody wants to get on stage and give a speech. And, you know, everybody wants those big wins. And you'll get those big wins based on the little wins that you collect when nobody's watching, when nobody's looking and nobody's paying attention. No one's rooting for you. Nobody's in your corner. Nobody believes in you. You believe in you. Like you take the baby steps. You pick up the book. You listen to the podcast. You know, you develop your skills. You educate yourself. Those are the little things that I think make such a big difference. And being passionate is not a requirement for success. Passion comes through hard work and discipline, and then passion is created. You see, I'm passionate about craft beer and buffalo wings. I talk about it often. Following those two passions, there'd probably be 200 more pounds of me here in this call if I followed that passion consistently, right? I wasn't passionate about sales. I wasn't passionate about Walmart or any of this crap. I wasn't passionate about any of it. I was passionate about wanting to become successful. And whatever path that took, I was willing to work hard. And all of a sudden, now I'm passionate about those things. Like you'll hear me talk about our clients. You'll hear me talk about the steps. You'll start hearing me talk about, you know, a sales pitch. And then you'll be like, damn, this guy's like super passionate about this stuff. I'm just not that passionate. It's a lie. I wasn't either. I just hard work. Anything you put time and energy into consistently, passion will arise. Passion will be developed. And like I said, what you do in the dark will bring you to the light. And it's the little things that when nobody's looking and when no one's paying attention will define where you're going and who you're going to become. And guys, life is about decisions and choices. It doesn't matter the circumstances that you grew up in. I grew up in a wealthy neighborhood. I have friends that are doing absolutely nothing with their life. And then I have other friends that grew up and had absolutely nothing and are doing better than me and absolutely kicking my butt. So the stories that you tell yourself are really important. You know, who you are, you know, what city you were born into, not really your choice. The city you die in and the city that you live your life in is the choice, is your choice. So just make great decisions, make great choices, and learn from your mistakes and swing the bat. Swing the bat. Don't just stand there and let life go by you. Take big risk. You're never going to be younger and have more energy than you do right now. Now's the time to go big and try something huge. And if you don't hit it out of the park, there's always a corporate route. There's always time to settle. There's always the safe place. Those will always be there. Swing the bat and go big, because what if things go the way you want it? And what if your life is 10 times better than you could have ever imagined? What if? I'll leave you with that.
Awesome. Ironically, we in our office, we have a home run derby going on based on sales performance. So perfect finish to the call.
Yes.
So again, I think we have some people. I'm going to unpin the screen here and get back to having everybody on the remove pin. And then if everyone that's on the call, if you guys can take your phones off mute and say thank you so much, Brennan, for your time. A round of applause.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Amazing information.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brennan. Thank you.
All right, Brennan. Thanks so much, buddy. Have an awesome day. And if you haven't subscribed to KLear channel, please do ASAP. Take care, guys. Happy Friday. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.